Jesus was hanging out with his disciples one day, and they were walking and talking, as they often did. And it happened to be the Sabbath day. And the Sabbath, back then, there was a lot of laws that said you can't do certain things and you can't go certain places, and you certainly couldn't do any work on the Sabbath. And Jesus saw this man who he was hurting, he was broken. And naturally, Jesus, out of his compassion, out of his heart, out of his love, out of who he was, he healed the man. Because that's what Jesus did. That's who Jesus is. And it caused such an uproar, it caused such a problem with the religious people today, because you can't do it on the Sabbath. And so I want to pick up in John chapter 5, verse 16. The Jewish leaders began to harass Jesus for breaking the Sabbath rules. And I love how Jesus answered. I love what he had to say. In verse 17, look what he said. My Father is always working, and so am I. My Father is always working. See, sometimes we have this view of God, don't we? That he's just kind of sitting on his throne. Angels are always coming and going, and all the creatures that are around him are worshiping, and that's true. But one of the things we forget that we must be reminded of, that we've got to grasp, we've got to make it our own, is that he's always working. That he cares about your life. He cares what's happening in your life. He cares what's happening in your family, with your children. He cares about your finances. He cares about your health. He cares about your marriage. He cares about every aspect of your life. And he is actively engaged with your life. Sometimes we think that God is just forgotten, or where is he? But he's always working. He's always desiring to do something within us that propels us forward, to move us closer to him, that we could see him clearly, that his word comes alive in us. He's always working if we give him an opportunity. If we open our ears and open our eyes to see what he's doing, he's always working. I want to show you over the next few scriptures where he is actively engaged and promises. And some of you need to grab a hold of this. Some of you need to make this yours for the next few weeks and months in your life, to not forget that he's working it out for your good. And sometimes we can forget that. Sometimes it's hard to see through the pain, and it's hard to see through the chaos, and it's hard to see through the issues of our life that God is at work for good in our life. Because there's some days we just can't see the goodness. Some days we can sing about it easier than we can see it. But I want to show you, right from his heart, right from his word, this is who he is, and this is what he's promising to do. I want to start in Psalm 37. Look what it says. I love this part. The Lord directs the steps of the godly. Those who have put their faith in him, those that are saying yes to him, he has said, I'm going to direct your steps. Now that proves, if you're here today and you're a follower of Jesus, he says, I'm going to direct your steps. Now what does that mean? I'm not a Bible scholar. I didn't go to theology school, but it means to me, it seems to me that God says, I'm going to direct your steps. Right? It means if you put your faith in me, I'm going to show you the way forward. I'm going to show you how to walk. I'm going to show you where to go. I'm going to show you, if you listen to me, if you put your faith in me, I will direct your steps. He delights in every detail of your life. Look at that. Let it sink in, because some of you need to get this. He delights in every detail of their lives. Which means what? He's actively at work, right? He's not just sitting back letting things happen. He's actively engaged in your life. He's actively working. The Lord directs the steps of those who follow him. Actively directing your steps. Psalm 37:24. Though they stumble, they will never what? They'll never fall. For the Lord what? Holds them by the hand. Isn't this encouraging today? I want to encourage you with his word. I want to encourage you. Let him breathe on this and bring it to life for you. No matter where you go, no matter what happens, he's got you by the hand. There are times in my life, listen, there are times that I've been sitting and I would go, God, what are you doing? And I've faced situations and I've faced issues, and I'd be like, And I would stop. When I take the time and stop and I hear that voice, I've got you. There's nothing like it. It could be the darkest of dark. When you hear that still small voice within you, I've got this. There's nothing that can encourage you greater. And I want to encourage you today, whatever you're walking through. It can be the hardest issue of your life. And he has promised not to forsake you. He's promised not to forget you. He says, I'll walk with you. I'll order your steps. And I'll hold your hand. We've got to learn to hold the hand of the one who never changes. The one who knows the way forward. Who knows what's coming around the bend when you can't see. If we take him by the hand, he'll direct us along that path that we need to go. But we've got to give him that authority and give him that ability to do that in our life. We know so much, don't we? I mean, we're so smart, intellectual. We think we know the way forward. We think we know what to do and how to do it and when to do it. And sometimes we forget to stop and ask, Lord, what do you want? Sometimes we neglect it, or we think we know better, or this sounds right, or this seems right. And so we move forward and we forget that there's one who says, I will walk with you and show you and direct your path if you allow me to. But you know the other thing, the Lord will say, go ahead and do it yourself if you'd like. He's not one who's going to force you. If you choose to walk in a direction that takes you away from him, it hurts his heart, but he'll let you go. Proverbs 16, verse 9, look what it says. Isn't this where a lot of us are at? We can make our plans, right? How many have plans for lunch? Yeah, I do. And we can make plans. We can make plans for later on today. We can make plans for tomorrow. There's football opening season, right? It's like, woo, we have these plans, right? That's what he's saying, basically. He's saying we can make our plans, but the Lord will determine our steps. The Lord will determine your steps. And we have to yield to that, and we have to allow that to happen, and we have to say yes to it. That's what he's looking for today. He's looking for your yes. He's looking for when you wake, not just yes on a Sunday morning, not just yes once in a while. He's looking for a yes every single day that you open your eyes and you have a new day. He's looking for your yes. To say, I want you to guide me today. I want to be led by you. Why? Because I want to be, does this make sense? I want to be led by the one who knows everything. I want to be led by the one who sees everything. To me, that makes a lot of sense. And this is what he's saying. The Lord directs our steps. So why try to understand everything along the way? Sometimes we get caught up in having to know everything and understand everything before we say yes. How many of us are like that? Well, I'll gladly do it if he just tells me all about it before I know it, so I know what's happening. I'll say yes to that job if I know all the things that the job is, everything that it will entail, everything it'll be. Tell me everything first so I know I can say yes. Oftentimes the Lord doesn't say that. He just says, will you go? Well, yeah, Lord, where am I going? Just go. But God, yeah? Where are we going? I know the way. Yeah, but I'd like to know a little bit about it. Trust me? Yeah, but he's saying the Lord directs our steps. Why do we try to understand everything? That's what he's saying. I mean, this is reality. This is where we're at. We want to know it. We want to see it. We want to figure it out before we get there. That's the way we're built. Except sometimes that's the opposite of the way the kingdom works. Sometimes as kingdom people, it means that there's a king and he calls the shots, right? If we're going to live in the kingdom and be a kingdom person doing kingdom things, that means there's a king who says, here's what I want you to do. And it's our job to say yes. The Lord directs our steps. He's promised to hold our hand. That sounds pretty good. Why do we question it all the time? I don't know. Psalm 119, I love how it puts this, because now it brings us to how do we begin to understand his leading? How do we begin to understand how he directs our steps? Look what he says. How sweet your words taste to me. They're sweeter than honey. In other words, the word of God, as it gets in you and gets through you, it'll refine you. It'll taste good to you because it will direct you. Your commandments give me understanding. When I read your word, when I study it, when I allow it to get in me and through me, I begin to understand things in a different light. Not understanding the way the world sees it, or the way the world wants it, or the way the culture says this is the way it is, but I understand it to the best of my ability on your level and what you're trying to say. No wonder I hate everything else that's false. Look what it says. Every other way of things are false. This facade that people have put up, this facade that the world has put up, we go, yuck. The more you get of God and the more you taste of him and the more the word gets in you and it begins to refine you and make you and shape you and mold you into his image, you look at the things of the world and go like, that's not very appealing anymore. That's the way it should be. That's what he's saying. As that happens to you, something will take place within you. You'll hear his voice and you'll begin to move. Your commandments give me understanding. And I hate every other false way of life. And then he says, I love this in verse 1. He brings it all together. Look what he says. Your word is a lamp. When do you need a lamp? In the darkness. In the darkness when you don't know the next way forward. In the darkness when you don't know what's coming. In the darkness when you don't know what to do. In the darkness when you don't know where to turn. He says his word is a lamp that will guide your feet and will be a light to the path that you're to walk in. It's hard to walk in a path in the darkness when you don't know where you're going. But he promises. He says, my word will be a lamp to you. It will be a guide to your feet. It will be a light to your path. If you trust me, if you say yes to me, if you allow me to do what I want to do in your life, my word will trust you. My word will guide you. My word will lead you. My word will be a guide for you wherever you go. It will light your path. You will know the way forward. You may not see very far ahead. In the real dark, if you have a small lantern or a small light, you can't see very far ahead, right? We want the big, powerful, like, give me the big one, God, that I can see way ahead in the path. God says, how about this little lamp? That's all you need for the next step. And the next step, just walk with me and trust my heart. So what's he looking for today? I said it before, I'll say it again. Here's what he's looking for. He's looking for your yes. He's looking for you to get up in the morning and say, God, thank you for this new day. And I say yes to you. Before you ever ask anything, before you ever say anything, before he even talks to you and before he tells you what to do and how to do, say yes. That's what he's looking for. Now some may say, well, isn't that kind of a blindly, yeah. Why? Because he knows all things, sees all things, knows what's coming. So when we begin to trust him, we begin to know his heart. And then we begin to know his heart is actually for you. And he promises somewhere, I read, that all things will work together for those, right? For the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose, right? So if that is really reality, if that is really truth, then we have to simply say yes. Now, is it easy? Can it be uncomfortable? Oh, yeah. Can it take us places we never thought we'd go? Yep. Would we do things we never thought we could do? Probably. Would we have to give and sacrifice? Yeah. It's part of the yes. But in the midst of all of that, there'll be such a reward of peace and joy and love that you could not find anywhere else except the journey that you're on when you follow his path. His path is always the narrowest. His path is always sometimes seemingly the hardest. But it's in that hard path and that narrow path that you find the greatest joy and the greatest peace and the greatest love. That's where you find him. So I don't know about you. I want that. And I try every morning to get up and say yes to it. This is a new day. Thank you for the new day. Say yes to him. Will you stand to your feet? I want to pray for you today. And if you guys would come, we're going to do one more song. But it's very simple. Today's a yes day. It's not complicated. It's not hard. It's not difficult. He's looking for a yes. So the next moment, I just want you to close your eyes for a moment and just, from time to time, he puts us in these places of decisions. We've been here before as a church, where he says, I just want your yes. For the next season of your life, would you give me that yes? Because as you give him a yes today, and you see he's faithful tomorrow, the next time, the next week, or the next month, or the next season that he asks for something a little more difficult or challenging, you'll be more apt to say yes because you know how faithful he was in the previous season. So God, we come. Yes, we come with our questions sometimes, and we come with we wondering what's happening, and we come with seeing the issues of life and the pain of life and the brokenness of life. And God, in the midst of that, we understand you're speaking. We understand you're still moving. We understand you're still working. And we're grateful for that. And God, our response has to simply be, yes. Yes, I'll go. Yes, I'll do. Yes, I'll speak. Yes, I'll be whatever you want us to be, because you're guiding us. You're showing us the way forward in these hard times. So take a moment and respond to him. As he's whispering to your heart, give him your yes today. Because there'll be no greater fulfillment or greater reward when you hear, well done. It's not well done, oh, successful servant. What is it? Well done, faithful servant. That's what we want to hear. It's not about success. It's not about growing more, getting bigger, or whatever it is. It's about your faithfulness. So would you say yes to him today? God, thank you for your promises. Thank you for your word. Thank you. You said you'd hold us by the hand. I have a little friend. Her name's Maddie, and yesterday we were leaving a place, a cafe here, and we were walking to my house, and I was walking ahead, and she just came up behind me, right beside me, and just took my hand. We started walking. She's 6. She loves to hold my hand. There's something in that. God said, I'll hold your hand. How does it get any better than holding God's hand? But that's what he promised, right? So don't run away from him. Run to him. He's got this. Whatever you're going through, he's got this. So God, thank you. Thank you. As we do this last song, I'm going to invite you to give your tithes and offerings today. Pray over them. Ask God to bless them. We believe in the power of multiplication, supernatural multiplication, that God takes it. And it's just like the loaves and the fish. Somehow it just keeps growing. We're blessed. And as you give, then as you walk away, ask God to bless you, that you can be a blessing to someone or someone else today. And don't forget to be generous. Not just what you put in the offering, but be generous daily. You can't outgive God. Just keep pouring it out, and he'll keep pouring it back in. It's who he is. It's his heart. If you're new, we're so glad you're here today. We don't expect anything from you. If you're looking for a church home, we're giving you the 3-week challenge. We haven't done that for a while. Each week's a little bit different. Each week has its own little different flavor, right? Some of you might have saw a bulletin. Dan Sellers was supposed to be here today, and at 7 a.m. this morning, he called and said, I'm sick. Can't be there. It's like, oh, okay. So what do we do? Plan B, Plan C, Plan D, Plan E. We're here, okay? Every week. So next week, the Apostle Ron Meyer from Dove USA is going to be here. Ron is an apostle in the body of Christ, and he just has a great message, a great heart to release and impart into the churches that he goes to and that he's over. And he's going to be here teaching us, and it's going to be just a great morning. So put that on your calendar to come out next week. So as we do this last song, come and give, pray over it, be blessed.
Dead in my sin, lost without hope, no place to begin. Your love made a way to let mercy come in. When death was arrested and my life began, ash was redeemed, only beauty remains. My orphan heart was given a name. My mourning grew quiet, my feet rose to dance. When death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace so free washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. And it's your endless love. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Released from my chains, I'm a prisoner no more. My shame was a ransom you faithfully bore. He canceled my debt and he called me his friend. When death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace so free washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. And it's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Our Savior displayed on the criminal stone. Darkness rejoiced as though heaven had wrong. But then Jesus arose with our freedom in hand. That's when death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace so it's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new. Now life begins with you. Oh, we're free, free, forever we're free. Come join the song of all the redeemed. Yes, we're free, free, forever, amen. When death was arrested in my, sing it again. Oh, we're free, free, forever we're free. Come join the song of all the redeemed. Yes, we're free, free, forever, amen. When death was arrested in my life, when death was arrested in my life began. When death was arrested in my life began.
That's the good news. This Wednesday, we'll be starting our new fall classes. We'd love for you to sign up. Out there, 3 brand new classes for you this round. So we'd love to see you this Wednesday night, 6:30. Go and infect your world with the love of Jesus Christ. Thank you to our friends from Life Center. Have a great week. See you soon.